The Radio Forest Podcast.
Rich, hey, it's Forrest in Boise, Idaho. How are you?
I'm well. How are you?
Good. How's Phil Ehart doing?
He's doing very well. I mean, he's seen his doctor a lot. He's already gone through all the rehab, etc. And he's just kind of waiting for some final clearance. He's playing drums every day, going through the set and all that. He's, out walking and doing a lot, he's working out, etc. So he's in fine shape. But, we're still just kind of at a wait and see before he gets, any final clearance, which could be tomorrow. It could be next year. We really don't know.
And you've known him since, is it before high school? I mean, it's been a while.
The first band I was ever in was called The Pets, and there was three guys. We all went to school together, and we were playing in one of the guys' living room because his mom had a little organ there. And so we'd practice there, and then we had a song list, and we needed a drummer. And and I met Phil. He went to junior high in Topeka, so I just had never met him before. And I was saying, yeah, that's Phil Ehart. He's, really good drummer. And I met him at the music store, and, I asked him if he wanted to join the band, and he did. So me and Phil have been together since my first band ever, which was in 1966, I believe, maybe 67. It was a junior year in high school.
What's it like playing with Eric on the drums? Have you had a chance to play with a lot of other drummers in bands? I mean, if you've been with Phil that long, he's been your rhythm section.
Well, in between the startup with the Pets, I got fired from that band because my parents wouldn't let me travel out of town.
You got fired.
And then I started playing with another band, and we were just playing locally, then different bands. I played in several different bands in Topeka. Then I got together with Phil in White Clover, and then we moved to New Orleans for 6 months, over 69 into 70. And then, discouraged with that, I went back to school again at Washburn. And Phil went off to London to try to get something going. I didn't like going to school, and I was in and out of different bands, and then back in for a semester, then in and out of bands. Dave Hope and I and another friend had joined this band called Plain Jane. Our influence on the band was not really where they wanted to go because they liked playing, fraternity parties and stuff, and we were bringing more like Allman Brothers and jam band types of things into the mix. And they didn't really think that our influence was conducive on their marketability. So they fired us, and the three of us were going to start a band. And then Phil called from London and says, I can't get anything going over here. What do you think about getting White Clover together again? I said, well, that's great. I just got fired from Plain Jane. He said, well, who should we get for bass? I said, Dave was with me. So then we had the three of us, the Kansas rhythm section. But then Eric has been sitting there as Phil's drum tech. I don't even know how many years now. I would say 20 or more. We've known him since he was like 11 years old. And he's literally mimicking everything that Phil does. And learned by, sitting right at his side. And Eric's a fine drummer. His dad is a professional drummer. And so he had 20 years of grooming to take over for Phil. And he would jump up on the kit from time to time and play a song with us and stuff. So it was a very easy switch for Eric to just jump right up and start playing.
But if you're on stage and you close your eyes, is there a feel or a groove that's a little bit different between Eric?
Oh, yeah. He plays it, most things pretty similar, but they have kind of different chops. Eric is a little bit more trained, I would say. A lot more lessons. He's got really good meter, and he has a few little tricks that Phil doesn't have. Phil has some tricks that Eric doesn't have. Eric uses a smaller diameter stick than Phil, so Phil has a bit more power. To be honest, it's like having Phil up there. It's not like, it's so different now. Phil did retire he took a year off when he got married 25 years ago. So we had Van Romain sit in with us, who played with the Steve Morris Trio. And that was completely different. He's such a different style. He plays a lot more of a jazzy approach. Very talented, but it was just different. And then also Brian Holmes from the producers was played with us for quite a while. Again, different chops, all of them, So there's a difference, but they all did a good job. Really, the best replacement we've ever had for Phil is Eric. He's you close your eyes and you wouldn't really know the difference.
Now, you guys are heading back to Topeka. You've got 2 dates coming up in October. When you roll into town, are you going to touch base with Kerry? How's that relationship been, or are there any special plans for a hometown show?
Yeah, well, we're doing 2 nights there at Topeka. Dave Hope and his wife are coming up, and Kerry's coming. So they will both be on stage with us for a couple songs. Phil is hoping to come to that show also. But, he's listening to his doctors, and he has not been given clearance yet. And Phil would do the same as him. He would play on 2 or 3 songs. And it'd be great to have, 4 of the originals up there. For sure, for Dave and Kerry, quite questionable is whether Phil makes it or not. He really wants to. But, he had a widowmaker heart attack, and so he was lucky he was in the fantastic shape that he was in. And in Phil's case, it was hereditary. All of a sudden, there it was. So because he was in such great shape, and Phil is the straightest guy you'll ever meet. He's never even considered smoking, drinking, drugs, anything. Always been very health conscious, and playing drums the way he plays is quite a workout. So, the doctors told him, being a drummer saved your life.
Now, he's from Coffeyville. Tell me about this Wayward Son coffee you guys have. This is such a cool idea.
Oh, wow, I'm surprised you know about it. The owner of Coffeyville Coffee had contacted Phil because they're trying to raise money to have the old theater rebuilt. Every bag you buy, like $2 is donated towards that. And he approached us, and we asked Kerry, since he wrote the song, and Kerry said, fine. Do I get some free coffee out of it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, we all will. So Kerry was fine with it. Now, I order it from time to time. I usually get about 10 bags of it. And what's good about the Wayward Son coffee is it's all organic, medium roast, and it's really good coffee. It's just a lot easier while you're at the grocery store to pick up a bag of coffee, and instead of waiting for the mail. And so I keep saying I need to order more, but I keep forgetting to. They've been emailing me saying, "Where have you been?" It's a great cause, and it's a great coffee. That's really all I can say.
Kansas is coming through here in Idaho on Monday. You're playing the Western Idaho Fair. I've got a question for you. I was thinking as a kid, the fair circuit wasn't really the best bands. It seemed like bands that weren't really that great or doing that good. In the last 15, 20 years, it's become really a good touring opportunity for these massive acts, and it looks like a pretty good deal for the bands. But then I saw some old flyers of some old state fairs, and they were really good lineups. So is that just my memory, or how has the fair touring circuit for you changed throughout the year of Kansas? Meaning at one time, was it not such a cool thing, and now it is, or is that just my own impression?
Well, traditionally they've always had, like Patsy Cline played state fairs. It's always, but it was kind of reserved more for the, country music back in like 40s, 50s, early 60s. And there might have been an uncool factor about it, similar to playing casinos. When we first started playing in Vegas, God, it was a beautiful room at the Aladdin, and they've torn that down now. I used to love playing that place. And then some of our peers said, "God, you guys are such a sellout. What do you think? You're Elvis or something, or Liberace?" I was going, they pay for the rooms, so we don't have to. They feed us for free, feed our crew, house up our crew, have great stage crews. The venue is incredible. There's nothing not to like about it. And so we were one of the earlier bands of our era to start jumping in on the circuit. Now everybody does it. That's right now. I'm in Wendover, Nevada. We're playing 2 nights, sold out at the Peppermill. And it's a beautiful venue, and we played there, I can recall, at least 5 times. And I know we've played here a lot. And it's the first time we've done 2 shows. Like in Topeka, this is the first time we've done 2 shows at TPAC. The tours are going fantastic. Jumping into the state fair circuit, it's that time of year. And I've always liked playing them. We played multiple state fairs. And it's always a great crowd, great atmosphere, the smell of bundt cake in the air. Everybody's eating corn dogs and corn on the cob, and it is just, it's a great environment for a show. And we gear the show. The casino and state fair shows are different than, like, say, the 50th anniversary show. Well, that's a hard ticket Kansas fan that's going to buy that, and we're playing a lot more deeper cuts and things, and we're trying to represent each era of Kansas, within that. But state fair, it's more of course, you're always going to get your diehard fans, but you get the majority of the crowd is they know a couple of the hits. And, honey, let's go over here and see the combo, because it's part of the general admission to get in. And so we gear the set more towards the occasional fan.
Aerosmith has called it quits. Kiss is done. Tell me about some of your memories with both of those acts, if you guys have been doing it now for over 50 years.
Well, we played twice with Kiss, and don't really remember too much about it. They're uneventful. Never even saw them except on stage. Aerosmith, we joined up with them early on when they were first really breaking, and they were breaking way ahead of us. I don't know, we probably played at least 20 dates together, back then. And it was great. We were 2 young bands that were finding our way. The rock and roll on the road touring process was all new and fun and exciting and all that. And we'd wind up, most of the time kind of in the same hotels. They had a big single out, so they were the headliner. And we were just, glad to be there, and we got along great. After the show, Steve and Tyler would come to our room all the time. We'd just sit around and have a drink or two, and that went really well. Then as we got to headlining status, as were they, we were doing some shows together, and it didn't go quite as well. It became a lot more competitive. We did have an incident where we were told to watch for Steven Tyler because he's notorious for unplugging bands.
Oh, wow.
That's kind of weird.
Yeah.
Our stage manager, he'd heard about it, so what he did was he ran us separate lines that were kind of hidden and taped that all down. It was kind of disguised. And then we just ran a couple of dummy plugs over to where it was supposed to be.
Smart.
So we were playing in Wichita, Kansas, and of course it was our crowd. Stephen was probably staring at his watch, and when we went 1 second over, he just pulled the plugs on us. It didn't work because they were done, and then he had quite a tantrum. It was just kind of an ugly scene. And we really haven't, we've played together since, but we really haven't spoken since. Unfortunate that happened. You get a bunch of, cocky, testosterone-fueled rock guys in competition up on stage, and the immaturity, etc., can flare up. It's just kind of a funny story to me. I have no animosity towards Steven Tyler, and actually, I think he's one of the best rock singers in the business. The same thing happened with Fleetwood Mac. We were on tour with them, and all of a sudden we're in the Midwest, playing Des Moines and St. Louis and Kansas City, Wichita, the same kind of area. For the remaining shows in that area, they refused to follow us. They went on first, which they were smart. They recognized that this was our turf. So that's how it went. That was their call, not ours. It just makes sense. Years ago, we did a flip-flop tour with Heart. As advertised, was supposed to be, it was co-headlining. And we would flip-flop every night. No, actually, it was for the press. It was like we would flip a coin, and that would decide who was going to close the show. In reality, it was whatever market someone was stronger in, they would close the show. when we got in the Midwest, of course, we were closing the shows. When we got out on the West Coast, they were closing the shows. So, that's just a smart way of doing it.
How many guitars do you take on tour? Are some of those backups? Do you have 2 acoustics for Dust in the Wind? Do you have your main electric plus a backup? Or how many guitars do you have to pack for a tour?
Well, there's 2 to 3 electric guitars I usually play a night. And so any one of those could be a backup if needed. The only thing is breaking a string. Well, we change the strings extremely regularly. And so it's been a long time since I've broken a string. For years, I played a Chet Atkins Solid Body electric acoustic. And that thing is just an axe. I'd sent it off, added some new pickups to it, etc. It's all internal. It's a great guitar. It kind of hurts my fingers to play for some unknown reason, but still, in the guitar case, that's my backup. I play a Martin D28 is my main guitar, but again, there's not too much to go wrong with it other than breaking a string, and it's not like I play it all night long, so the strings about every third show we'll change the strings.
Well, it was great seeing you on the TV show Walker. I thought that was a great cameo. Wayward Son Coffee from Coffeeville. You can order it like Richard does, have it shipped to you. Congratulations on your 50th anniversary tour with more dates coming up this year. We're going to see you here in Idaho on Monday. Richard Williams, Kansas. It's been great to talk to you today. Thank you.
Great to talk to you.